Good evening and welcome to the Middleborough Board of Selectmen meeting for Monday, July 28, 2014. We are being taped by Middleborough Community Cable Access and broadcast on Verizon and Comcast. Does any member of the board have anything under unanticipated?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. McKinnon.
I just received tonight an official copy of the Plymouth County operating budget for the Plymouth County Commissioners. I would like to enter this into
You sure you don't want to read it?
circular file. I was voting on it, so I'm well aware of what's in there, and it's all numbers.
All right.
Okay?
Anything else?
That's it.
Any other member of the board have anything under unanticipated? Any member of the audience have anything under unanticipated? All right. Any member of the board have anything under announcements and recognitions?
Mr. Chair.
Ms. Delphi.
I have a couple things. First of all here, Plymouth and Brockton bus has already started its route from Plymouth, stopping in Middleborough and going to Providence twice a day. So I'll just briefly, the Middleborough stops are at 9:35, and that would be going towards Providence from Plymouth. And then going also at 4:35, it would be going from Plymouth towards Providence. And then also at 11:55, it's going the other way, so we'll be going from Providence to Plymouth. Did I just say that? No, the other way around. And then at 7:25, it will be going to Plymouth from Providence. It's stopping at Campanelli Business Park, where the Christmas tree shop is for right now. And you can go online at Plymouth and Brockton, or you can call 508-746-0378 to get any more information. The website is www.p-b.com for information. So that's very exciting. We have a bus in Middleborough now. Yay. You can also get connections in Plymouth to go up to Boston. So that's very nice. Next weekend, this coming weekend already, Crazy Days is coming up. You all know Middleborough on the Move puts on that great fair downtown August 1st and 2nd. This year, the Middleborough Tourism Committee will be in the bank building. We will be there. We're going to, so anyone who wants to come by and see the bank building, maybe somebody who's interested in leasing the bank building. Also, we will have the air conditioning on. It'll be a cooling center. We'll have a place you can sit down, some water, and we have lots of information and many volunteers. We have information on town departments, the Middleborough Gas and Electric Company, Conservation Committee will have information in there. We will be selling herring run t-shirts, mugs, all that kind of thing. We have brochures on all of the events coming up for the next year, so please stop by and see us. Have a seat, have a nice bottle of water. And also, the Tourism Committee has been busy. We were hoping, we're still keeping our fingers crossed, that the website Discover Middleborough, that's the OUGH, will be opening up this coming weekend. We had a couple glitches, we were running it, so I'm hoping that Sherry Hartley-Neely, who's wonderful, is our IT person, and Victoria Souza, who's working for us, will get those ironed out, and it will be up and going on this weekend. In the meantime, on social media, you can go to the official tourism, facebook.com/Middleborough Today. That has no OUGH because there were too many letters, so just Middleborough, O-R-O. And the other one is twitter.com/Middleborough Today, same thing. They are up and running. So please say you like them, do all that kind of stuff, and we're happy, we're out of the gate. That's it.
Beautiful. Anyone else on the board have any? Mr. Knowlton?
Mr. Chair, just on the heels of that, for Crazy Days, this year they are having the Bloodmobile available during Crazy Days. And I'd like to offer a friendly challenge to my fellow board members to join me at the Bloodmobile at some point over the 2 days. And anyone else in public. It's a great cause.
I will pass out if I have to. Give him blood.
That would be it.
And as tying into the Crazy Days, we're gonna have a community dinner on Friday afternoon from 4:30 to 7:30 at the Massasoit Community College front lawn. It's $10 per person if you buy your tickets in advance, $12 at the door. It's barbecue chicken, potato salad, corn on the cob, watermelon, and cornbread. The meals are provided by the Hideaway. Beer and wine will be available for purchase, as will soda, sides, and dessert. I'm gonna be having a booth at Crazy Days. Any of you guys wanna stop by and get yelled at with me? I invite you to join me.
They don't yell at us, do they?
It'll be more fun in the bank building.
Wow. All right,
That's a challenge now.
All right, not that this is a competition, but I'm also offering a whitewater rafting trip for 2 as a raffle prize at my booth. And if I'm really nice, I won't be the one driving the boat. So please stop by, enjoy the raffle, and enjoy Crazy Days, have dinner. Well, you started.
Well, come on, you started, you threw out the...
So
We could raffle off a T-shirt.
you can have a bottle of water, or you could go whitewater rafting. Or you could do both.
Yes.
And I would like to say congratulations to Sarah Siedelholm, who was on the school committee. She completed the Ironman triathlon in Lake Placid, New York this past weekend, and that's just pretty incredible. So, congratulations to Sarah, and good luck in your next race. Does any member of the audience have anything under unanticipated?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the heels of that, I'm Brian Giovanni with the school committee. Yes, and congratulations. That is very difficult challenge to overcome, that the Iron Man, Iron Woman triathlon out there. I know she's been training for it for years, and she's tried it a few times, and it's very difficult. As a school committee member, I wanted to make mention that not this Thursday, but next Thursday, August 7th, is our next meeting, because I didn't know if you were meeting next week, so I wanted to make sure I got it in. We should be introducing some new personnel and some new positions. We've been reorganizing this summer. The superintendent has been working hard to reorganize and get us more streamlined on some of our positions. We've had some retirements this year, after this past year. So some people may be introduced with some new positions at this August 7th meeting. That's kind of our big item that's coming up on August 7th. I do want to make mention that this year coming up, we will start discussing school buses. And our school bus contract, which is up for renewal after this coming year, we're going to start discussing potentially combining school bus routes, meaning the high school and middle school potentially. We looked at it briefly, but didn't have time to really thoroughly vet it last time, which we did our contract in February, and we usually do it in February for the following year. This year, we're going to jump on it a little early and start discussing it. So I think that's one of the big items that people at home might want to start thinking about, start talking about, and I'm sure it'll hit the Facebook sphere very quickly. But I just want to make mention of that. Now, if I may change hats to Brian Giovanni, Middleborough friend, Thursday, and every Thursday, the summer concert series continues out here in the town hall lawn. We've gone 4 for 4 with our weather. It's been great. We're hoping for another one this Thursday night, starting at 6 o'clock, with hot dogs and popcorn and soda and water available for purchase. This week we have the acoustic stylings of Scott McLeod, who's a very good resident here, and I think a consultant of the town on some IT, as well as Larry Dias together as a duet. They're going to be performing on the town hall lawn, so I think it's great. So come on down and have some fun on the town hall lawn. It's open to everyone. It's a free concert, and we're getting anywhere from 150 people to 175 last week. We had a huge crowd out there, so it's a great event. So come on down. The kids, there's bubbles and hula hoops and jump ropes and things for kids to do, so it's great. So come on down. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. McKinnon?
Relative to the school bus merging of routes, will you be having a public meeting on that?
When we get, yeah, absolutely. It's something that will be discussed more than once. It's going to be an item that's going to get discussed a few times. I just want to kind of get it out there, because when we did our school calendar this year, we had discussed it, but I had a lot of people saying, I never knew anything about starting before Labor Day. And as most people know who have kids in the school, we're starting before Labor Day this year. We're starting, I think it's one of the first times that I can remember that school in Middleborough started before Labor Day. The teachers go back the Monday, the students go back on Wednesday. They'll be going to school Wednesday, Thursday, they'll have Friday off, they'll have Monday, Labor Day off, and they'll be back in school on Tuesday again, roaring to learn. Typically, the students come back Wednesday, then Thursday, Friday, then the following Monday they start learning. So we're actually picking up a day of time on learning, and hopefully we'll get out a little bit earlier in June when the weather's not oppressive like it was this year, as we had the hottest June on record in a long time.
So you will be making an...
We will be. I'm sorry, on the buses.
I I'm glad the kids are going to school.
Sorry.
Early or late or whatever they're going.
We will be making an
I don't
announcement.
have kids, so I don't, but I'm more concerned with,
Yep.
this topic did come up, and it was
It was
kind
one,
of
it was one meeting.
very, very low-key discussion because of, well, whatever reasons. But I think there was a lot of ramifications about that people
Absolutely.
will want to talk about, and I want to make sure that folks get the ability, even though some of them may come back and say, we didn't know there was a meeting this night, but at least we
That's-
get it out there as much as possible so that when you do have this meeting or these discussions, that the folks can get in and give their input in it.
And I hope to be here the moment it hits our agenda. I hope to be here on a Monday night telling everyone about it being on the agenda. And I'm sure the press will cover it as well as it being on the agenda at that point. But I agree. That's why I'm trying to make mention of it. That's probably one of the bigger items that's going to come up this year that I can think of on the horizon. So I put it out there early. It may come back to bite me, but it is something that I want people to start thinking about. Because
Let's
there's
go back to
arguments on
bite
both
you. If you're
sides.
doing the right thing, you're putting it out there, you're getting it out there so that people can talk about it. What bites you is when you try to sneak it under the
Absolutely.
radar. That's when you get bit, so,
Yep.
sorry.
That's okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Anyone else have anything under announcements and recognitions? All right. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes for July 14th, 2014.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. I'd entertain a motion to authorize the chairman or his designee to sign the warrants for the weeks ending on the 26th and August 2nd, 2014.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. New business. I think we should have a discussion about setting the dates for the police chief interviews. Little background, we had an assessment center today for 5 candidates. One of the candidates had to leave early, so we're down to 4 candidates right now. And I thought they all did rather well, and it's going to be a difficult decision. That being said, when would you like to set the dates for the police chief interviews? Just one thought that I had, and I'm not married to this by any stretch, but I was thinking maybe on one of our off weeks, we just have them come in and do all 4 in one evening. Therefore, we get it all done at once, and no one has an opportunity to review the questions that we've asked, and then come in 2 weeks later and go over them.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Knowlton?
I think I mentioned this to you this afternoon. I'm not going to be available in the off weeks. I've arranged my vacations around
All right.
our summer schedule, so it would have to be during the on weeks.
Would you be around on a Wednesday?
On the 13th?
I don't have a calendar in front of me, but
13th or the 27th, yeah. As long as it's the same week that we have our regular meeting.
all right. What day is today? Today's the 28th, so our next meeting would be the 4th? No, would be the 11th? You're not around on the 4th?
No, I am not.
All right. Anybody else have any scheduling conflicts?
Nope. I guess the only concern we have is being able to get, I imagine we'll want to use this room.
Well, if we do it on a Wednesday, we should be fine. No?
I don't know, other people.
always check, once you figure out a date, and I'll go
All right.
next door and check.
The 13th.
So you want to try the 13th? Tentative, the 13th?
Is that going to cut us too short on time, Charlie?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, could you start a little earlier? I mean,
We-
we start
yeah.
at 6, start at 7.
We're making the time and date, so it's up to us. You know, I don't have,
No, I'm just thinking about
We do the
the
week before.
the times of, you know, we do our discussions, then we're going to have a discussion about it, then there's going to have to be discussions about the contract, so it's not like we can do it on Monday and it's all done that night. It's,
Do you want to do the Wednesday before?
well, no, I
the
mean, and I'm glad we're having this conversation, because we need to, yeah, there's 2 separate, at least in my eyes, there's 2 separate things going on here. We have to select the finalist, and we have to come up with a contract.
right.
So
But we kind of need the
they
ladder.
can't, they can be done exclusively.
Yeah, but in order to offer something, you've got to have something to offer, and then we have to talk about that first.
Yeah, no, but, I mean, we don't have to have our finalist and then have the contract, and we don't have to have the contract and then the finalist. Because then when we have them both, then there's gonna be another discussion about how this works.
Okay.
So do we wanna schedule the police chief interviews for the August 13th?
Yeah, the room is free.
All right.
At 7.
Yes.
At 7.
What time? Want to do 6?
6?
6?
6? All right. All right. Jackie, can we schedule a meeting for August 13th at 6 PM for the 4 finalists? Beautiful.
Do you want to actually vote on that or not?
Should we vote on this?
Well, it was under new business. You don't have.
All right.
Make a motion that we have our discussions with the finalists on the August 13th, 6 PM,
Second.
town hall meeting right here.
Is it interviews or?
It's interviews.
Interviews. I have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. At this time, I had sent out an email and regarding another police chief search in another town, where they actually invited the public to send in some questions. And I think that would be a decent idea, if we got some comments and questions from the public regarding this. I'll just say right now, we're not gonna accept or read any ridiculous questions, and we're not gonna accept or read any anonymous submittals. If you have a name and an address that's in Middleborough, yeah, you gotta live in Middleborough, not taking questions from other towns. But you send them into the Board of Selectmen, we'll review them. We're not gonna go over every single one of them, but if we feel that there are some good ones, we'll pick them, make them part of the process. And those interviews with the police chief candidates, that's an open meeting.
It is an open meeting.
We're not really gonna, I don't think, it's up to the board, but I wouldn't recommend allowing the public to participate in the interviews.
No, that's our
But
job.
we'll be more than happy to ask some of the questions if they're relevant questions. So we'll make that invitation to the public, and hopefully we'll hear from some people. And we'll ask those questions on August 13th at 6 PM at the town meeting, at the Selectmen's meeting.
And in
Ms.
terms
Lo- Who are the 4? It's
Lieutenant Andrade, Lieutenant Perkins, Lieutenant Ferrera, and Officer Rapana. In terms of assembling the questions you will ask, will that be something that the chair will do, and the other members can submit questions to the chair for the
Sure.
chair to?
We,
Is that acceptable?
yeah, I'll come up with as many questions as you'd like, and go through them, kind of consolidate them. I think the process would be most helpful if we asked all the candidates the same questions.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there will be some spontaneous questions that are generated by the answers from the individual candidates. So, I mean, it's a discussion, it's our decision, and it's our police chief. So, I would imagine that the parameters should be somewhat loose, you know. And I look forward to it. Does anybody else have any suggestions or anything?
So we should send questions to you and you'll
Send them
weed
to
through them?
everybody.
Okay.
'Cause you-
Send them to
Who's-
Jackie.
Who's gonna,
Send them to Jackie, and she'll forward them out to everybody.
who's gonna weed through them and make sure, we don't have the,
I'll
come
do
up
it.
with the final list?
More than happy to do that, but I think like, if you ask a question, it may generate some interest in the
Yep.
topic from me, but it may answer a question I have, so. I think it'll be neat.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
should we also set the follow-up meeting dates? As Mr. McKinnon said, it's going to probably take us a couple of meetings beyond that as well. And seeing how the month of August grows short, should we try and set those dates now?
Sure.
We'll need to set an executive session meeting, which can be a meeting in and of itself. I mean,
Yeah,
we
it's
can-
gonna be a long one.
we can sit and just discuss this contract.
Or you could do it on the 11th. I mean,
Yeah.
if you want. I mean, why don't you get ready for that discussion Although the 11th is a long night, we may not want to do that. That's going to be.
We're going to have four candidates in here, and it's not going to be a 2-minute interview, you know.
No, the 11th
Oh, the
is a
11th?
regular meeting.
We have,
But we have a WRPD, we have an earth removal, and we have a Title V. So then that brings us
Well,
out
if-
to the 25th.
we're getting too far out, because the chief's
John-
leaving.
John is
Yeah,
away.
but John is
John is
committed
away.
himself to the off week, so I don't know
Right.
that you have a choice.
Chief's done at the end of August.
No, I think it's 12th of September,
All right.
so you have time.
What does our agenda look like on the 25th? Is that something we could put?
It's fairly open. You have
Yeah.
some time,
Could we do our executive session at that point?
Yeah.
so good.
I don't think we should push the discussion on the contract out that far. I think we should be more ready to pull the trigger and make an offer and have what we're going to offer.
You might that night have it, make an appointment on the 25th, right? So, I mean, if you're doing your interviews on the 13th, that'll give you, 12 days of consideration. So in all likelihood, you would take your vote on the 25th. And then you could, immediately thereafter begin discussions on contract. But you could, if you want to, schedule something before that just to prepare for that discussion, if that's what you're thinking. So,
My thoughts are that, we want to review this and see where we want to go with this.
sure, sure.
And I don't think it's something we want to try to cram into a night when we've got a lot of other stuff going on.
And the 11th is busy, so I wouldn't recommend that. So, if you want to choose another night where you can spend, some time, without being rushed,
Right.
by all means.
The 12th or the 14th jump out at me. Would make for a busy week, but
Well, goes with the turf.
exactly.
Um,
I'm free any-
And that would certainly give us enough time.
I'm free on either, the 12th or the
Yeah,
14th.
I mean, I'm not gonna shy away from that. If it's all right with the rest of the board, I certainly don't have a problem with it.
12th, sound good?
Yep.
So why don't we have an executive session on the 12th?
All right.
And we could do that either here or in the Bat Cave. We don't have to.
That'd be at 7
Yeah, I
as
mean,
well,
if
or
this
6?
room is busy,
Yeah, we can go in
move
this-
into the other room, that's fine.
Right.
Is that it?
7 or 6?
6? You guys okay with 6?
6 is fine.
Get
Okay.
it done? Make
6
sure
p.m.
the AC's on. All right, so on August 12th, we're going to have an executive session at 6 PM in this building, either in this room or the Bat Cave, as Mr. McKinnon refers to it, for discussions regarding the contract. August 13th, we're going to have 4 interviews with the 4 finalists for the police chief. And depending on that, how that goes, 25th could possibly be an appointment and an offer. All right. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Yes.
This is one of those things that we gotta be sure about, so
Yes.
Yes.
if anybody has an issue, let's talk about it now. All right. All right, sounds good. Anybody else have anything else on that? Because again, this is something
This
we
would be the
want to
time?
cover. All right. All right, so I would entertain a motion to vote to appoint a Rotary Advisory Committee members.
So moved.
Second.
All right, little discussion, we had a pretty loose Rotary Advisory Committee coming into this with the advent of the state approving the town's option on improving the Rotary. We were asked to appoint 2 members of the community at large and 1 member as a liaison from the Board of Selectmen. Before we were asked that, I had offered to be the liaison from the Board of Selectmen, and the board had voted, I think unanimously, with giggles and fingers pointing at me to do that. So should we reiterate that vote for me to be the liaison?
Do we have to giggle and point?
I'm sure you will anyway.
Okay.
And I'll be more than happy to listen to any ideas for 2 members of the community at large.
Well, I would certainly entertain a motion to have Chairman Frawley be our liaison, provided you don't get the whole thing, get us thrown out of the state or something, but to be the liaison to the Route 44 Rotary Committee.
Second.
There we go.
I have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Yeah,
Should we-
I was on 495 going to, in the morning, I think it was Monday morning. And 495 north going through Middleborough was a parking lot. So I'm pretty happy that we didn't go with the state's alternative. It would have been a nightmare. But that being said, I know that Lincoln Andrews has mentioned he'd be interested in as serving as on the Rotary Task Force, and I know that can't think of his name right now. All right, I'll say Lincoln Andrews. You guys can fill in another.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
might it be better if we throw this open to the town as a whole and say that we'll make the appointment
See who's
in 2 weeks?
interested, yeah.
And maybe we
Sure.
can get something in the newspaper, and that way all interested parties could then
Send a
send
letter.
letters of interest to the board.
Sure.
I make that motion.
Second.
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So if you're interested in serving on the Rotary Task Force Committee as a member at large, please write a letter of interest and send it to Charlie. And we'll make that appointment for, on our next meeting, which will be on August 4th. Is it the 4th or the 11th?
11th.
The 11th.
Mr. Chairman, I can give you a report from the meeting that took place here in Middleborough on the 24th, I believe, of June. And it's, it seems like they've come up with an improved design even over what we wanted. They're keeping the Rotary entirely open. They're keeping access to 495 open as well. Our design, was going to limit it to northbound traffic. So they are doing some serious work on this design and making a lot of progress. So I think everything is pointing in the right direction, and I think whoever serves on this, at this point, it looks like it's, it's everything that we hoped it would be.
All right, beautiful. Good news. All right. I'd entertain a motion to approve a one-day beer and wine liquor license for the bartending service of New England for Crazy Days as follows. Friday, August 1st at Massasoit from 3 to 8 p.m. Friday, August 1st and Saturday, August 2nd at the Auto Glass Center from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. I would entertain a motion to vote to establish the maximum useful life of equipment to be funded by borrowing.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Charlie, you want to go over this a
Yeah,
little
Mr.
bit?
Chairman, this is very consistent with what we've been doing for the last several years as we've been borrowing for equipment. The most important, the most expensive and longest life equipment, we tend to go out 10 years. Less expensive equipment, we go 5 or 7 generally. So that's what we're doing in this case as well.
All right. Mr. Chair, to Charlie, the personal protective equipment for the firefighters, that's the NFPA requirement for 10 years?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what the chief, I checked with the chief, and that is what that is from.
Sure. Thank you.
All right. I would vote to appoint auxiliary police
Can we
officers.
vote on that?
You didn't
Oh,
vote.
I'm sorry. So we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, passes unanimously. I'd entertain a motion to appoint the auxiliary police officers as presented.
So moved.
A second.
I just never got any names or anything. Where are they?
James Braga,
James, we can-
Nicola LaPalm, and Tyler Silva.
Let's see who else.
just there. He just said.
Look at
All right,
that.
as presented, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, passes unanimously. There you go. All right.
It's getting right downhill.
Entertain a motion to vote to approve the betterment agreement for 137 Rocky Meadow Street.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second, any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, passes unanimously. I would entertain a motion to vote to approve the North Congregational Church Fall Festival and Crafter Fair for September 27th, 2014, and the use of the DPW barriers.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Chair, do we
Yes.
have letters in here from the chief? He's, Chief Gates and Benjamino, the chiefs. They're all okay with this? I didn't see anything in here.
Yeah, I was just sitting here thinking about that, but they haven't responded. I'll make sure.
How about we,
Okay. Amend that
Subject
with
Amend-
their.
subject
yeah,
to-
Subject to
Subject
maybe all
to-
of that, but
approval of the chiefs? Someone want to amend that motion?
I just did,
Aye.
amend it.
So,
Second the amendment.
I have a motion and a second to, on the amendment.
Correct.
Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Amendment passes unanimously. I have a motion and a second on the vote to approve. Any other comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. All right. I'd entertain a motion to approve the request from Don Barrio to illuminate the town hall flagpole, town office, or town structure on the 1st of September in recognition of Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, which is September.
So moved. Second.
Second.
And would you care to comment on that, Ms.?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening.
Good evening. How you doing, buddy?
This is Dylan, my son Dylan. Yes, I'm here to talk to you about September being Childhood Cancer Awareness Month and briefly touching on what it's all about. In March of this year, I joined a community called the Gold World Project, started by a father who lost his son a couple years ago to cancer. And he's started this on Facebook. So worldwide and throughout the country, different places have illuminated their structures. Specifically here in Massachusetts, the Zachem Bridge, the Prudential, and also this year, there are a couple other structures that are illuminating also. And I'm sorry, I'm not prepared
It's okay.
with this tonight. Niagara Falls is illuminating, Ben Franklin Bridge is illuminating, the Atlantic Wharf is illuminating this year, as well as the Battleship New Jersey, which will all light up on September 1st to show their support. And I'm asking for our community to also join us in this effort to show their support. And more awareness brings more funding for research for childhood cancer, so that someday there'll be a cure for all forms of cancers, and we don't have to endure putting our children through the treatments year after year, day after day. Awareness works, awareness is needed, And the Gold World Project is on Facebook. You can check them out at facebook.com/The Gold World Project. And that keeps up to date of what different family members are doing that have joined this awareness. Even children are involved, asking their towns, writing letters to different state officials, asking them to illuminate their structures. We've had quite a good response over the past 2 years that Mr. Stoddard has started this project. So that's what I'm here to ask tonight, is if the town would illuminate one of our structures or all of our structures, whether it be for September 1st or for the entire month of September. And if we can get our entire community involved, that would be great. We've had tremendous support from everybody here in Middleborough, and we appreciate that. And we would love to see everybody's porch light with a gold bulb. You can get them at Lowe's or Home Depot. They're really a bug light. I know Sylvania makes them, and there's another company that makes them. I'm sorry I didn't bring anything to show you, but they're basically a bulb light. They're not really a gold bulb that illuminates, but they do make spotlights also, if you have a spotlight in your yard with a flagpole. So we're here to ask for your support and to help show awareness, support this awareness.
So you're looking for a gold or a yellowish kind of light?
It is.
color?
It's a yeah.
Okay.
It's you can get them at Home Depot and Lowe's. They're actually in the light bulb section. It's actually a bug light. Some of them have a frosting of yellow. It will illuminate in yellow, but it will look gold.
I bet we got some guys across the street that could help us with this. Charlie, could you speak to the folks over at G&E? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anytime. The only, God bless you. We'll do whatever we can to help you.
And whatever I can do, absolutely. I can call Jackie with any information that you may need.
All right, and we'll try to publicize it and get it around town too. We have to ask the veterans if we can light up the flagpole. I don't see them saying no, but I don't want to assume anything.
I didn't want to infringe on that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, sir. But that's one thing I don't want to infringe on. If they volunteer to do it, that's fine, but
I promise I'll ask them nicely. They're a pretty good bunch of guys, so, and girls.
I don't want to infringe on it.
That's all right.
Their memorial. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Okay, say thank you, Dylan.
All right, I have a motion and a second on that. Any other comments or questions?
So this is just for September 1st.
Or the whole
On the
month.
motion, can we
Could
do
do the whole month.
Yeah, if we're
We
going
could
to have
do the
them,
whole
why
month.
not?
to amend the motion so that we light it up for the whole month?
Yep. I second that amendment.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to amend it to the whole month of September. All in favor on the amendment?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. On the motion, I have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Beautiful. Thank you. I would entertain a motion to set the special town meeting date on October 6th, 2014 at 7 p.m. and to close the warrant on Friday, August 29th, 2014.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. I would entertain a motion to appoint Stephen Conway to the Library Board of Trustees, filling the current vacancy for a term ending June 30th, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Is Mr. Conway here?
Hello?
How you doing?
Not too bad, yourself?
Not too bad. You heard about a vacancy, you volunteered.
Yes.
You want to tell us a little about yourself? Or?
Yeah, I've lived in Middleborough for about 2 years. I currently live on Justine's Way in South Middleborough. The reason I volunteer is I'm trying to get into the community and help out the community. I thought this would be a great place to start. I'm a fan of the library, so I think I'll be able to help a lot.
Beautiful. We appreciate you stepping up.
Thank you.
Anybody have any comments or questions? Mr. Milton, you're our library expert.
I used to serve on that committee as well.
Yes.
Congratulations, welcome
Thank you.
aboard.
Thank you, I look forward to it.
All right, motion and a second, all in favor?
Were
Aye.
there
Oh,
any
I'm
other
sorry.
applicants?
I don't think so.
Good evening, Neil
Good evening.
Boker, Library Director. Yes, we had a few gentlemen express interest, and the trustees met with all of them at our last meeting in July on the 14th, and the board voted to recommend Mr. Conway for appointment.
Is it unanimous?
Yes.
All right, we're gonna go against that. So I have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank
We
you, Mr.
appreciate it. I would entertain a motion to authorize the town manager to sign a drinking water and wastewater energy conservation grant in the amount of $191,000.
So moved.
Second.
Charlie, you want to tell us a little bit about
This is
this?
the grant that Sandy Ricker at the G&E put together with the help of the staff at Water and Wastewater, and we're looking forward to spending this money.
All right.
Awesome.
Tell
Need help.
Sandy and the staff, we said thank you very much for all their hard work. And I have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. And I would entertain a motion to create a High Point donation account. Charlie, you want to tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, this goes back to the Zoning Board of Appeals decision where High Point will be reimbursing us for fixing the Pearl Street parking lot. So we received the first check last week, $95,000. So talking to the accountant, Steve Gooney, he recommended a donation account. This way, when we go to do the work, we can pull the money out of it without any further appropriation or action.
All right. I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions?
Question.
Yes.
Charlie, are we going to wait for all the payments, or are we going
No.
to start before that?
We're going to actually bring an article to the town meeting to authorize the full amount of the funding. We'll do the work early next year because we want it to be ready by the time High Point
Right.
opens. And then we'll, as the payments come in, we'll extinguish but it'll be a short-term borrowing. It'll cost very little to borrow the money. So.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Motion, do we vote on it?
Not
Motion,
yet.
second. Any other comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Discussion regarding marketing the vacant office space at the Town Hall Annex Building.
Mr. Chairman, I gave you a memo that just talks about maybe following a different process to try and find a tenant for the building. We tried it on our own, gave it our best effort, thought we had a taker, and then that fell through. I don't think it's wise or even advisable to just try and do that again. I think we need some help from a professional. I've looked into it. I've talked to Dan Murray about it. I believe we can do this because the amount of the fee will not exceed any of the thresholds requiring public bidding, that we use good business judgment and see if we can get a contract with a local broker to do the marketing within the amount that we can afford to pay, and then start that process again with that assistance.
Any comments or questions?
Mr. Chair, so where would we be advertising for this? To get the broker?
I wouldn't be advertising. I think I'll contact a couple of people and see what kind of arrangement we can agree on, and then bring you something to consider.
Any other comments or questions? Do we, I'm okay with it, yeah.
Well, I'm pretty okay with it, but do we want to, why wouldn't we want to, out of my own ignorance, why wouldn't we want to put that out there and say to the broker world and say, who's interested in doing this? And, because they're going to get a fee for it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, wouldn't it be more advantageous to put it out there to the brokerage world?
Well, I don't know. I've never had to do this before. This is something that, you could do that. Now, do you want to just take the low bidder? I don't think so. So then, do we want to do an RFP and get into all that process? And, I don't think it's necessary. I think if we contacted brokers who are active in the community, who are successful, see what arrangements we can strike up with them, and then pick one and go. That would be my preference, but.
Mr. Chair, I don't think it's so much about the fee. I think we're on the same, but I think if we broaden the area, possibly someone outside the town or the general area might have someone that does more of a regional.
I mean, Charlie, let's face it, if you screw it up, what are we going to do, fire you? Come on, take a chance.
No, I guess I just saw the premium of time. I thought we could get some, I might be able to get something to you in 2 weeks, and then we could select somebody, and whereas if we do a broader outreach, it's going to take longer. I'm going to spend a lot of time talking to people about this, which I'd rather not do, frankly. I'd rather find somebody good, bring them to you, and try and market this property. That's all.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I would be happy, I know a lot of people in the business, just to make this week a couple calls and see what the network is, and maybe we could find someone that way that would broaden. I don't want to limit ourselves. That the bank building's been there, and if a broker thought that they could make money on it, driving by it every day, I think they would have jumped on it. It doesn't hurt. And it very well may be the guy down the street, or the firm right here in town, whatever, or in Lakeville, or what. It may be very close. But if you could humor me and let me make a couple calls to people that I know in the business.
By all means.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any other comments or questions? So we'll do it that way?
I will. I promise you, I will. This week I'll be done with it, and then if nothing comes of it, go right ahead.
All right. Everybody all right with that plan of action?
Yeah.
Give Leilani till the end of the week?
And then fire her.
Just don't take my benefits away.
All right.
Want to vote on that, Mr. Chair? Or?
Do we have to? Do you want to? If you want to, make a motion, huh? Yeah.
Okay, disregard. Thank you.
All right. All right, 7:30. Hearings, meetings, and licenses. I am going to recuse myself from this hearing, as I just became a member of the Waukegan Rod and Gun Club. I'll hand it over to my qualified assistant.
Yes, here I am.
Jim.
Vice Chair.
Vice Chair.
That's me. Okay, so do you have something that you had to read here that you didn't tell me about? Okay, this is proposed vote for Winkinco.
No.
Where is it? He didn't give it to me. Oh, right here? Thank you. That was the wrong one. I don't have it here. I'll just see.
Board of Selectmen will hold it, Matt.
I'll read it. Yeah. The Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing in the Selectmen's Meeting Room at the Town Hall, 10 Nickerson Avenue, Middleborough, Mass. on Monday, July 28, 2014 at 7:30 p.m. for the purpose of discussing an application filed by the GAF Engineering, Inc. on behalf of Waukegan, I should know how to say it, Rod and Gun Club, Inc. for a special permit under the Water Resource Protection District bylaw to allow for the removal and relocation of the existing backstop at the existing range, add 3 target stations, construct a concrete pad under the existing pavilion, and 2 new shooting stations and pathway to the target stations. Portions of the range will be regraded to provide positive drainage across the range. All areas disturbed during construction will be revegetated. The area where the backstop currently exists will be restored with the New England Environmental, NEE, seed mix, approximately 5,190 square feet at 88 and 92 Pine Street. Assessors map 103, lots 965 and 1884. Zoning district, general use, WRPD District Z4. Anyone wishing to be heard on this matter should appear at the time and place designated. So, I'd like to open the hearing.
Good evening. My name is Bill Madden from GAF Engineering, here on behalf of the Wankinko Rod and Gun Club. The club is proposing to relocate the existing backstop that they use at the rifle range, and in order to do so, we're proposing to conduct some activities within the 25-foot Water Resource Protection District, no activity zone. The site is such that we're a little bit strapped for space down there. The wetland boundary that did exist several years ago has crept into areas of the range, the shooting lanes of the range. So it became apparent to us after we made our original filing that we would have to come before your board seeking authorization to allow that work to take place. One of the things that occurred, the backstop that currently exists, it's about 185 yards or so from the pavilion or the shooting benches that are located on the westerly side of the property. You can see that the alignment isn't the greatest. It's not quite parallel to the pavilion with the shooting benches. But what really came about here is that when we filed a notice in the intent of conservation, DEP flagged this area. It basically said that it appears as if there was a wetland alteration that took place there, and without the benefit of a permit. So we're not certain when the actual construction took place, but it was back in, I think, in the late 70s or early 80s. In any case, we thought it would be prudent as part of this project to move that out of the wetland area and restore those wetlands that had been altered as a result of this construction of the berm. So we decided to shorten it up a little bit, make it more to the range of 100 yards. That's a little more typical in Massachusetts. Granted, there are club members that shoot longer distances, shoot out of state, what have you. But they felt that the 100-yard range would be suitable for their use. So you can see what we've done is we've brought this new backstop in to within 100 yards of the shooting stations. We're calling for that area to be excavated out and brought over and use the material that's in the existing backstop as core material for the proposed backstop. We would expect that we'll find some stumps and some logs and things of that nature in the existing structure that really are not suitable for use in the new backstop. So what we basically estimated is about 1,200 yards of material down here. We need 800 to do our job. So it's likely that we'll have adequate material coming from the existing locations of the proposed. One of the other things that came up through discussions with DEP, that if that backstop were to remain and become inactive, it would be required of the club to remove that material and mitigate any lead contamination that might have occurred in there. But if it's reused in the same fashion, in the same general area, that would not present a problem to DEP. There's a letter that was prepared by Atlantic Design. They reviewed the application that we submitted before you, and there was several questions raised about the lead management and things of that nature. And I think the biggest feature that we have going for us at this range is that the lead management is really the best management practice that any range could entertain in their facility. So what we did is we followed some NRA, National Rifle Association standards in the design of the backstop. And in addition to the backstop, we also are proposing some shelters or target stations that will be constructed inside this horseshoe-shaped area. That would assist in any deflection, which is not expected. But anytime a bullet is fired out of a gun, there is an opportunity for it to run off track a little bit. And we felt that by having a roof on the top of the the backstop that we'd be able to prevent any shots from going awry in the area. This is just a view. If you were looking at it, you'd see these three actually 8-foot wide target stations, and behind that would be the slope berm that they would shoot into, and that would capture the projectile, and it would be stored within the mass of the berm itself. With respect to the Water Resource Protection District, we are going to be inside the 20-foot, 25-foot zone. We also have a small 1,615 square foot of wetland alteration that will occur in that area. So we went before conservation. We received an order of conditions from them to allow the project to go forward. We're replicating about 4,950 square feet of wetland resource area, in addition to the 5,190 that's going to be restored as a result of moving the backstop to its proposed location. So we felt that that was a benefit to some degree, at least for a water resource protection issue. Another feature that's been designed into the berm is we have a 40 mil polyethylene barrier that'll be constructed or placed underneath the berm itself to help prevent any vertical migration in the event that some lead was to migrate into precipitation down into the ground. And we confined to the area of the berm. So as far as making sure that the water resource is protected, we felt that the polyethylene barrier would assist in that. So that's what we're really proposing to do. The wetland line, as you can see, it came way up into here. Conservation granted a permit to allow us to do this construction. We have an agreement, or a memorandum of understanding for a mowing program to occur in the shooting lane so that we don't run into this problem as time goes on where wetlands will creep back in and they will find themselves not having a range. So Concom has agreed to issue a memorandum of understanding that needs to be executed between the Gun Club and the Conservation Commission. This area here is, we call it a construction access. We will have to access this pile to remove material and stockpile here. This is all in the buffer zone to the wetlands, and what we almost expect is that there would be a need to place some temporary construction material for the equipment to drive on to load the material from here, deposit it over here. So at the end of the project, we propose to just create an additional wetland back in here, connecting it to this and connecting it to the wetland to the south. So we get a little bit of a more comprehensive and expansive wetland area in the rear of the site, as there won't be really any need for them to use that for the shooting range at this point. Another comment that was raised, and I can go through each one if you'd like on the list, but one of the unique things here is that this is a licensed game preserve. So the club has the opportunity to set game birds out and offer hunting that goes outside the general hunting season for upland birds. So there's quite a bit of shooting activity throughout the fall months of the year. So one of the comments was about lead and things like that. And while we recognize that we're managing the lead in the best manner possible at the range, there is random lead that's throughout the area just as a result of the hunting that goes on out there. So that was an answer. I think I responded something like that in my letter from them to Atlantic Rapid. But that's what we are proposing to do. We think it's a good project. We think we protect the water resources of the community by trapping, containing, and preventing any migration of lead into the groundwater systems. We also show that we have some significant wetland replication to mitigate any loss of wetland resource area that would result from the project. So that's pretty much what I have to offer on the application that's before you.
Jackie, did we have a letter in here from Trish, from any of the other departments that we notified about this? The building department, the planning department, the health department, DPW? Do we have other letters in here?
There's excuse me, a memo from Ms. Cassidy.
Yeah, I
dated
said
July
from
23rd.
Concom, that's it.
Yeah.
I didn't see any others. I'm just asking.
I only have one from.
Then I imagine they don't have any objections to that. Anyone else like to make a comment on the board? No?
Conservation Commission did vote to approve this.
Right,
We have
yep.
the order of conditions and
Mhm.
the memorandum of understanding about the mowing that was described. So Tricia had noted that that would provide sort of a special, environment that we don't always see here with
Mhm.
being able to mow it in the back there. So.
Okay. Any comments from anyone in the audience? No? So do I close the hearing first? Then I'd like to close the hearing. And I would entertain a motion for the following. I believe I have to read it? No, you do? Okay. Hit it.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
The board finds that the proposed use, A, is in harmony with the purpose and intent of the WRPD bylaws and will promote the purposes of the water resource protection districts. B, is appropriate to the natural topography, soils, and other characteristics of the site to be developed. C, will not, during construction or thereafter, have an adverse environmental impact on the aquifer or recharge area water resources of the town. And D, will not adversely affect any existing or potential water supply. The board will vote to grant a special permit to allow the relocation of the existing backstop at the shooting range and the restoration of the land area on which it is currently sits at 92 Pine Street, as requested by the applicant's application under the Water Resource Protection District bylaw pursuant to Section 8.2.9 WRPDZ4, Use Regulations 3A, alteration of existing use and structures based on the plans titled Plan to Accompany Notice of Intent, 92 Pine Street, Middleborough, Mass., and Maintenance of Mowing Plan, 92 Pine Street, Middleborough, Mass., prepared for the Wanquiko Rod and Gun Club, Inc., by GAF Engineering, dated May 12th, 2014, and July 8th, 2014, respectively.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Ayes have it.
Carries, it carries unanimously. Congratulations.
Very good, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you, appreciate that.
No.
At 8 p.m., we'll have a hearing on the state sanitary code, sanitary code violation hearing regarding 30 Rocky Meadow Street.
Good evening, board members. This is a housing case. This is Mrs. Muirhead. She requested to come before the board. The status of this case is currently the homeowner, Mrs. Muirhead, has been working with Jessica Gardner, who's the lead inspector for this housing inspection. And she has covered a number of the violations, corrected them, and was recently issued an extension to complete some of the other violations that are outstanding. She did request to come before the board to discuss with you some of her issues relative to the inspection and the occupants.
Good evening. My name is Doris Muirhead. I live at 522 Wareham Street in Middleborough, and I own the rental property located at 30 Rocky Meadow Street, of which I have a tenant, Dominic Roman. I've had several problems with Mr. Roman over the past year. There's been a lot of problems at the property. His girlfriend was removed, the children were removed for several reasons. The tenant asked me to reduce the rent because I think he wasn't getting supplementary income from his girlfriend's rent when they were living together. I told him I would not reduce the rent. So in May of this year, he stopped paying the rent. Subsequently, I issued a 14-day notice to quit for non-payment of rent. That was on the 6th. And then on the 9th, he complained to the Board of Health that there were several outstanding violations on the property. So the Board of Health went there on the 11th of June and inspected the property. And on the 23rd, I got a list of violations, to which I can say I was absolutely shocked to see the length and the amount of the violations, given the fact that the property was in perfect condition when he occupied it a year ago. So when I went to the Board of Health, of course, I was extremely surprised about this, and they said if I was aggrieved of the complaint that I could request a hearing, so that's what I'm doing. One of a very serious issue was that there were no carbon monoxide detectors and no smoke detectors in my property. And I happen to be a broker for over 30 years in Massachusetts. And also my son is related to Nicole's Law. That unfortunate situation with carbon monoxide, I would never have a rental property without carbon monoxide or smoke detectors. However, I had a 24-hour notice because it was such a serious violation. I had to go in with a police escort because prior to this housing code violation, I had been trying to get into the property on several occasions. Every time Mr. Roman called me about something, moisture or whatever it happened to be, I tried to get in and I would be accosted as soon as I got down into the basement or alone in an area with him. And subsequently, the police would come. So I have several police reports here for every time I went to the property and the police arrived. So I went to the police again and I said, you have to accompany me to bring the smoke detectors and the fire alarms in, which Officer Gennard accompanied me. We went in and I had gone to the fire department that day also, and they advised me to get all plug-ins. They said, that's our advice. So fine, that's what I bought. Officer Gennard and I went in, we installed everything. The next day, I went back to Captain Reed, said, it's to 24 hours, I've complied, could you please come in and give me the certificate of compliance? So I went in with Captain Reed, and lo and behold, all my original smoke detectors were in place. All my carbon monoxides were in place, along with the new ones that I had installed the day before. So I had Captain Reed write on the report that all of the detectors and monoxides were there in place, all the new ones and the old ones. So clearly the tenant took them down and had the Board of Health come in. They weren't there, put them back that night. When I went there the next day, there they all were. Subsequent to that, I was going in to make repairs, and I noticed that the holes were in the sheetrock. I mean, clearly, it had to be the force of a shod foot to kick a hole with that force. It was on one of the violations. I said to the Board of Health, that wasn't there. I was in there with the officer installing. The walls weren't broken. They said, well, we'll speak to him about it. And apparently, Jessica had a conversation with him, and he said that his son was horsing around, his little boy with a dog, and that's probably how it happened, which I find hard to believe that a 2 or 3-year-old could go through a wall, a sheetrock wall. So I felt as though that should have been taken off of the list. It just went on and on and on. I've been in there, I've been trying to make repairs on a daily basis. I've had to call contractors, I've had to call plumbers, I've had to call carpenters. On the 22nd, we were down there, and my son and I, and we were making repairs all day long. Dominic came home about 4:45. I was backing out, my son was backing out. He went in the house for a few minutes, and he came out totally incensed. He actually assaulted me. He assaulted my son. I called the police again. Police came down. My son and I were up all night. I wrote this letter to the Board of Health, which was dated the 22nd, and it coincides with my affidavit to the police and with the police report. And in it, I state that at the time he threatened me, he threatened my sons, he threatened my home, he threatened my property, he threatened to ruin everything I have, and specifically, he stated that during the night, this is the night of the 22nd, he was going to destroy the house, he was going to break the pipes in the walls, he was going to do other things I can't repeat in public. And that's my affidavit. My son's affidavit that he wrote for the police coincides with this. He continued to yell at us, telling us he was really going to take care of us and the house and the pipes behind the walls. So I typed a letter to the Board of Health that night when I got home about the threat, and that he threatened to ruin the house, he'd take care of us. When we least expected it, we were going to get it. He was going to break the pipes in the walls. The next day, and I had this hand-delivered to the Board of Health on the morning of the 23rd, the next morning. And we were informed the next day, on the 23rd, that a call came in to the Board of Health from my tenant, Dominic Roman. And wouldn't you know, there was a problem with the pipes in the wall. Something happened during the night. And all the pipes were leaking. He didn't know where it was coming from. So I wrote another letter to the Board of Health on the 23rd, and stating that I formally told them the day before that exactly what he was going to do. He said he was going to destroy the pipes, and the pipes were leaking the next day. So I spoke to Jessica at the Board of Health, and she told me that he stated the reason that he never noticed that before was that they never used the wash machine and took a shower at the same time. So he never noticed that that leak was there until the 23rd. But that's a lie, and I have it in my letter, because we were told not to use the second bathroom by the Board of Health because all kinds of issues arose when they opened my file that permits had not been signed off in 1987, 27 years ago. Electrical permits weren't signed off, some were pulled, some plumbing permits weren't pulled. So I had to shut down my bathroom in my basement, and I locked it with a latch. They were down to one bathroom, and they were using the washing machine, and they were taking showers at the same time because I was in there working at the house when they were doing that. So the situation has just gotten totally out of control. It's become not only a civil matter, but it's become a criminal matter also. And I'm involved with the Middleborough Police, and charges are being filed. And I'm in the process now of filing for malicious damages on the property also. So given that, we're still working diligently on everything, but as every day goes on, my tenant is creating more destruction to the property. I had one of the issues was that the dishwasher was sluggish. So my son and I went there to see about the sluggish dishwasher, and he had kicked the whole panel in. I mean, it was, there was no way you could repair it. The panel was totally kicked in. I have pictures that I took, okay? And you can look at them if you like. There's no pooling water in the basement. It's sweat from my water well. The vent dryer was on the floor all winter. He had that vented on the floor, which my furnace is right there. If you want to create moisture in a house, that's how you can do it. Just pull the vent out of the exterior wall and let it vent into the basement. And there was a pile of lint this thick, and I was shoveling it up with a shovel the other day. Like cockroaches on the floor. I was told that I should clean the grout and make sure that the grout on the floors are very tight in the tile so that he can thoroughly clean his floors. I don't think he's washed the floors in a year and a half since he's been there. They ripped the moldings off my doors in my cellar to get the beds into the cellar. There's cable wires hanging everywhere. I got cited for wires hanging, okay? There's cable. They scratched up my leaded glass doors. They ripped the cords off of my $250 chandeliers. They smashed the glass doors, which I have to replace, on my closets. They have kitty litter. The lead paint inspector came because they complained about lead paint. My house was built in 1977 in the summer. It's a Connolly home. There's probably 150 of them in this town. I don't believe any of them have lead paint in them, but I had to get a lead paint inspection, which I did. And while the lead paint inspector was going around, she just missed stepping in dog feces. And she said if I needed her to write an affidavit, that there was dog feces on my white wall-to-wall carpet, and she would write an affidavit. These outlets I had to fix because he said they weren't working. We opened the outlet plate and they fell out. They're smashed. That's not normal wear and tear. That's somebody that kicked outlet plate. Punched holes in the doors were off the track. They said I had to replace them. They were kicked off the track. Kids sleeping everywhere on the floor. Trash everywhere in the yard. I complained about the trash in the yard. I complained about the batteries over my well water that are here. And I told Jessica, I said, I mean, this is disgusting. She said she only saw a couple of cigarette butts and one crumpled up piece of paper and one cage. That's what she said she saw. But this, in fact, you can see the photos. And I went back again today, and I was going to work there today, and I had a carpenter lined up from Falmouth. We were meeting at the property at 9, and he had a note taped on the door. Sorry, I bombed the house this morning. You have to wait 8 hours, you can't come in. So I had to pay a carpenter for work that I couldn't perform. So while I was there, I took more pictures. He has animals there, which I complained about in May. He has goats, he has pigs, he has chickens, he has ducks, he has rabbits, he has 6 cats, he has dogs, he has a bread truck in the yard loaded with bread for over a year. This is bread that he feeds to the pigs and the animals. I mean, is that sanitary? Is the battery sanitary over my well? He has light cords coming up. He has trash barrel. That's today's Monday, Rocky Meadow. They pick up the trash, but they won't pick up his trash because it's dumped over. And that barrel has been like that for a month. He burns garbage in a tree stump out back. It is so disgusting. The tree stump, he burns garbage. I mean, that's a health hazard. Plastic, cartons with the fumes, toxic. I mean, I can go on and on, but I'm totally disgusted. I think that in light of all these violations, I don't feel as though I should be responsible for everything on this list. And I have proof, and I can have affidavits from everybody that's been there. I can have affidavits from the police. I can have affidavits from the fire department. And I just wanted to present my case because I've been a property owner in this town for 30 years. And I've been a licensed real estate broker for over 30 years. And I'm a licensed Massachusetts federal attorney for over 15 years. And I would never, ever rent a house under these conditions, ever. These conditions were created by the tenant. And I cannot, following the housing codes, I have to go through all the proper channels. So I do have a hearing on August 18th is the soonest that I could get him in after the 14-day notice to quit, and then the constable's notice, and then the return of service. And the hearing will be on the 18th, and then I'm sure he'll still have more time to present his case to the housing department also. So it's a long process to get people out, but in lieu of that, I just want you to know what I'm going through, and I am complying with everything. And I do have tradespeople working on this, and I've been working on it, and I've been down there myself for 2 weeks working on it myself. I'm doing everything I can to comply and to bring it up to code, but I would never, ever have rented a house like this. Thank you for your time.
We are in agreement that Mrs. Mura has been working on correcting the violations that have been cited. The unfortunate part when we go into these inspections, and usually it's when the tenant's been notified to vacate, is that if we do not have documentation or some record, or the owner cannot provide us with some documentation, which is why many times we've asked this board about implementing a pre-inspection program, but we have no documentation in order to assist the landlord. And under the code, we do have to cite the landlord if we find the violations. And unless we can prove that the tenant did it. Now, the tenant did agree to repair some of the damages, such as the holes that he created. But during the inspections, the construction that was done that she had paid and gotten permits 4 years ago was for the addition for the upstairs. And I guess they did not have documentation of sign-offs for that. But was of concern there was a bedroom downstairs. I guess not that long ago there was a fire on a wood stove that was downstairs that had not had permits. There's a bathroom downstairs that does not have permits. And there's a wet bar or partial sink and kitchenette setup that did not have sinks or any permits through the building department. So those are some of the things we were trying to get Mrs. Muirhead to get corrected through the building department. As far as the tenant is concerned, for the downstairs, Mrs. Muirhead indicated that she has not rented to that person. But that's not a legal bedroom as it stands. So that's why not only was she cited, but also the tenant was also indicated, the existing tenant, that was an inappropriate, illegal bedroom. And Jessica can cover some of the other details of the inspections.
I actually have an updated extension letter that has the outstanding violations on it for your review, and I can go over that with you. Including, I have 2 separate copies of pictures. They're not very good. This is from my initial first inspection, which was done on June 11th, and these copies were done on July 15th. You can refer to those. So I'll be referring to the updated letter, which is an extension letter, because the previous order letter, either the violations have been corrected and/or that it was occupant responsibility, such as the hole in the wall. I conducted a reinspection on July 23rd. I conducted the inspection with the occupant and Mrs. Muirhead's son, who has been a great support and help to her during this. The first, if you look at the front page, these violations are in reference to the plumbing work in the basement and the kitchenette type in the basement. And the following plumbing connections is in referred to that as well. So those three cited violations are for the plumbing in the basement. The dishwasher was not draining properly. It was full of standing water when I did my initial inspection, and the son said that he had picked up a brand new dishwasher but didn't have it available at the time of my reinspection, so that's why it's still on this order letter. The exposed wiring throughout the basement, you can see in some of the pictures there, may be in reference to some of the cable wires, but there's also additional exposed wiring that's coming out of the wall and coming out of the ceiling. The broken section of the mirror door in the living room, Ms. Muirhead was fixing that when I did my reinspection on the 23rd, so it still stands, but she was in the middle of fixing that when I was there doing the inspection. The peeling paint around the wall mirror, I pointed that out to her son, who again is doing a lot of the repairs, and he said that he could take care of that. As far as the gap around the mechanical ventilation fan in the downstairs bathroom, they are in the process of permitting that bathroom, and I said that could be repaired at that time. The kitchen floor has some gaps, has some rivets, and the housing code states that a floor has to be smooth, impervious, and easily cleanable. I told the son that if it's smooth and there's no issues because the floor was dirty, that he can leave the tile there, but it can't have gaps and it can't have divots. Again, we're still waiting for the lead inspection report. She had an inspector go in there sometime last week, and we're waiting for that inspection report because there's children under the age of 6 occupying the dwelling. And the screen for the leading to the porch in the house is not tight fitting around the perimeter. I also noted on here, and I can read this to you, for Ms. Muirhead, please be advised during this reinspection it was observed in the basement laundry room area a leak between the basement ceiling and first floor bathroom floor that occurred when the washer in the shower unit was operating simultaneously. It is the health department's recommendation that a licensed plumber evaluates the cause of such leak to determine the manner in which it has occurred and make appropriate repairs. A lot of our inspection, unless the owner can prove that that was the condition it was in when it was rented, if there was some kind of walk-through inspection done with the owner and the occupant, unfortunately, a lot of the burden lies on the owner. As far as this leak, I have to be, I'm an inspector, I'm not a plumber, so it's our recommendation that she hires a plumber, and if the plumber can determine that it was done in a manner caused by force or something of that nature, we can certainly cite the occupant, or she can use it for her case in court. Ms. Muirhead and her son have been very cooperative with doing the repairs. And that's basically where we stand. We gave another 30 days because she is doing an eviction process. I believe her date's on August 18th. Go from there. I also did send a letter to the occupant that nobody is to be occupying the basement. And as far as the trash and debris in the yard and the animals, when she called regarding the animals, I had my inspector go out twice to observe the animals. We were also out there months before this situation to do an annual inspection when we were aware that the animals were there, because the neighbor had a horse without a permit, so we saw the animals in the next yard and went over and did an inspection. Food, water, and shelter for animals, and they had all of that, and they were all in good health. There are some child's toys in the yard. They keep the trash barrel by the shed. I looked behind the shed. I observed some wood debris, including a fridge door and a door that appeared to have come off the house. The wood debris appeared to be something maybe coming off the house. It was painted wood taken off of somewhere from the house. The occupant agreed that the umbrella on the floor was his, on the ground was his, and that he would pick it up. And he agreed to rake the area around the trash, because apparently the animals were getting into the trash and getting it everywhere. I believe that's it.
If I may, we've got on the screen door in the back, he said it's still ill-fitting. Well, he's running the cord. How can you have the screen door fit flush when he's running the cord out of my slider from the kitchen? It's plugged into the kitchen and all the way past this burning stump where he burns trash. You can see in the pictures, it goes back to the pen with animals, which I reported. Animals are being kept in plastic children's playhouses. I don't know how that can comply to live in for safely for animals to live in plastic children playhouses. It is a picture of a goat. One of the doors were all stored in my shed. He took the door off my house and put it in the back of the shed. He took a door, an interior door that was in my shed, and made it for a door on his animal pen. An interior door that belonged to me that was stored in my shed is a door which could fall on somebody's head. I mean, if you open that, what kind of storage pen is that for animals? He has bread truck. I showed you this today even. You can go by. You can drive by 30 Rocky Meadow right now and you can see the battery, because I took pictures, and you can see the bread truck with all the bread in it, all exposed, and you can see the trash barrel. This is Monday, today, 7/28, Monday, tipped over. They won't even pick it up. So you can have these pictures. That's what I'm dealing with. And I complained about the animals in May, and Jessica told me that they all seem to be healthy and well-fed. And then when I asked her again, when she was there, about the animals and the way they're being kept, she said she made curbside observation when she came. You can't see that curbside. You have to get out and physically walk to the back of the house in order to see it. I also complained about all the people sleeping in the basement. It's like a crack house. You go by there on Saturday night, it's like 6 cars, 3 trucks. I wrote them all down, all their plates and everything. I called the Board of Health. They said they got beds. They got a water bed on the floor in one room. They got another bedroom in another room. Bedrooms are illegal in the basement. They're illegal. I wanted them out. And they told me that they could not tell them to leave, that I had formally evicted everybody that was in there. So I had to start another eviction process on another person. And then when the police came the other day, I said, why don't you get his name and his social security number, so I don't even know who they are. So I can have to evict every single person that's squatting in my house. In the meantime, I'm losing thousands and thousands of dollars in rent every month because they don't pay rent. And they're laughing. They sit there on the deck and they laugh. And they're all living there for free, and they're burning stuff in barrels. I mean, and they're sitting on You can see one, it's a car seat in the yard up against a tree. They took out a car. It's horrible. I owned the house since 1977. I had it built, and I raised my 4 children. And people go by to this day and say to my sons, "Does your mother still own that house?" And my sons, unfortunately, yes. But we're really surprised because she's always had it kept so well. It was one of the best houses on the street, on the string of Farmland homes, and it's horrible today. I mean, you wouldn't want to put your dog in it. That's what I'm putting up with. That's all I have to say.
So I'm not sure what to advise the board. I'm not sure, Mrs. Muirhead is working on things, just as we've asked. This is a legal process. You know, it's unfortunate that it happens to landlords, and the state, it's the way the state code's written, and that we don't have a lot of leeway as far as citing our violations. We do try and work with the homeowners when things are obvious. We do try and cite the tenants so that they have that. As we told the board, we've advised both the owner of the property and the tenant that the downstairs is not to be used for bedrooms. That was never permitted to be used as bedrooms. It's a basement. There was no permits pulled for making the rooms down there. So we're trying to assist her in manners that we can. There, you know, when we don't see violations relative to the animals, we can't cite the violations regarding the animals. If anybody wants to bring the MSPCA down and see what they say, I mean, they're even more, give even more leeway. I mean, it's very difficult. So the tenant was, you know, was aware of this hearing tonight. I guess he wasn't too interested in coming. We'll continue to assist the homeowner as best as we can. As I said, we've extended her, you know, given her an extension for the violations and all, because she has been working diligently trying to correct them.
Excuse me, when's the extension till?
I sent the letter on the, just confirm. It's 30 days from the
So
letter.
August 24th?
About.
Ms. Muirhead, you said your hearing is on August 18th?
And for the record, I never received the letter about the extension, and I never received a notice that there was a meeting tonight. I was totally unaware that the meeting was tonight until Ms. Spalding called me at 10 o'clock this morning and asked me if I was moving forward with it. And I said, of course, of course I'm moving forward. And she said, well, you plan on being there tonight? I said, where? The meeting. Nothing was sent to me.
I don't know how to address that other than we send it to the same address that we sent all the other all the other violation notices to. So they were all received. It's the address that we have on file. Why she would not have received it, I don't know. I've asked her if she has another address that she would prefer that we use, if she could provide that to us. We'd be more than willing to use that, and we'll give her copies of whatever she has not received.
And the violations with the extension, because I didn't receive that either. I didn't receive that.
Do you have a copy of that?
I do, actually. And here's, you can have 2 copies of my letters that I sent to the Board of Health. One on the 22nd, at the time of being solved, and the 23rd.
And do you have a copy of the lead paint inspection?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
Well, it passed the inspection with flying colors. I just don't have the report yet, but she told me everything passed. She would have been very surprised if there was any lead paint in there. She's never seen any lead paint in any property prior to 74. Everything, and as a matter of fact, the tenant followed us around, and it's documented in the letter too, about basically to the point of harassment to the lead inspector. Did you get that pole? Sometimes they bury it under a piece of wood, they nail another piece of wood. I mean, it was incessant. And when the home inspection, when it came back for the re-inspection, I was not allowed to go in the house. So I did not accompany Jessica for the re-inspection. I asked her why. She said, unless my tenant gave me permission to follow them around for the re-inspection, that I was not allowed to go in the house. So I had to stay outside in the driveway with the police officer.
Can I
Well-
address that?
Sure.
I spoke to her and asked her if the occupant was cooperating, because when I pulled in, there was 2 police cruisers there. A couple of gentlemen outside, including Dominic and the gentleman living in the basement, and another gentleman that I hadn't seen before. At the time, I said, "Are you going to do the inspection with us? Is he allowing you to do the inspection with us?" And you know, because the occupant has to allow you to do the inspection with us. And she didn't clearly answer me, so I said, "Okay, well, I'm going in to do the inspection." And her son accompanied me for the inspection while Miss Muirhead, as I stated previously, was in the room fixing the door on the broken mirror door. So she was not out in the driveway with the police officer while I was doing the inspection. She was in the house fixing the door, as I had stated previously.
I strongly disagree. I stood right by my car, and I went over to her, and I said, "So we're going to do the re-inspection," and she said, "You're not allowed to accompany us unless the tenant gives you permission." And it doesn't look like he's giving you permission. The police were there. So I stayed outside the house. I was not in the house when they did the inspection. I had no idea what happened during the inspection. I went up to the office after that, and I says, "I need a report." "Well, your son, but my son doesn't own the house. It's not my son's responsibility. I own the house. The onus is on me to make the repairs. Shouldn't I be the one to go around while they're conducting a re-inspection?"
I think as a point of law, and Mrs. Muirhead being an attorney, recognizes the fact that we cannot break the law if the property is under the control of the tenant legally still, until such time as the court deems he is not. We cannot give permission to outside people, regardless of who they are, tenant, landlord, whomever. The tenant is in control. We do not have the legal authority to then say, bring other people, including the owner of the property, in. We would be violating the tenant's rights, unfortunately, at that time.
Except
Which is why we specifically say, if the tenant allows you access, absolutely you can come through.
That's right. He had 24-hour notice. And he knew I was going to be there. And he knew the inspection was going to be conducted that day. And I was already there. And so was my son. And so was the police, to keep the peace while we had the inspection. That was the whole point of me calling the police officer, so that he could keep the peace while we had the inspection. He was fully aware. He came home from work at 2:45, because 2:30 actually came back home a little early, and I called Jessica, and I said, "I think you should get here before 3, because he's already here, I'm here, my son is here, and I have a police escort here." And she said, "All right, I'll leave. I'll be there in about 5 minutes." But she got there before 3. And as soon as she came out of the car, I asked her if we were going to go through and get the inspection, and that's what she said to me, "Not without the tenant's permission." And I said, "You have to be kidding me. I'm here. He has notice of this. I planned, how am I supposed to know what's passed and what hasn't passed?" And she said, well, your son can go through. I don't know. Did he give my son permission specifically? My son, did he say my son could go through, but I couldn't? How did that pan out? I wasn't privy to the conversation. I wasn't privy to that.
Mr. Chairman, just for my own clarification, so the tenant, the homeowner called the hearing for this, the request of the
Correct.
hearing before us, but the health department has granted a 30-day extension.
Correct.
Is there anything that we can do at this point? I guess I'm not completely understanding the purpose of the hearing. Is it just to keep us informed about the matter, because it's ongoing?
Yes.
Okay.
Keep you informed and just to have it on record that a lot of these violations did not exist, that clearly I could document that the tenant created, and they still exist.
So if you have some things that the health department is requiring you to fix, it's gonna be required to be fixed regardless of who caused it, correct? At this point, and then perhaps you have a claim in housing court or a small claims court against the tenant.
Absolutely. I mean, you have a claim from a criminal complaint.
But they have to get fixed no matter what, right?
I'm charging him in Wareham District Court for damages, and also then in the housing court, when he's in arrears about $4,000 in rent.
But the violations have to be fixed regardless, correct?
Unless the house is unoccupied.
Okay. And she's being cooperative with you, so.
There every day, except when he doesn't let me in. But like today, the bombs went off, so, the 3 bombs, so I couldn't get in, and I was left there with my carpenter, who I scheduled to come up and down and, to work for me. So I'm doing everything I possibly can, but she's playing games with me. His whole point, he said, was to make me spend money. That's what he told me months ago. I'll make you spend money. And he said, I'll call the Board of Health every single day if I have to, and he'll come down here for a violation.
I think the health department has acknowledged that you've been completely cooperative with them, so.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Knowlton?
first off, I'm sorry for the situation you're going through, Mrs. Moorhead. That's just not a good thing. Secondly, I don't like the idea of a town department being used as a sledgehammer against someone. I don't think that's the purpose of the department. I would like to see, I don't understand why you keep putting money into the house while the tenant is still there, because obviously he's going to destroy anything as soon as you fix it.
That's right. And a lot of landlords I talked to said they refused to make repairs until the tenant was gone.
Right.
However, the Board of Health said that I have deadlines, and I have to have the repairs done. I had 30 days. Then I asked in my letter of the 23rd that I would like an extension, because he also destroyed new pipe, new damage on the 22nd.
Would it be, I don't know if this is a question for Jean or for Mark, would it be beyond the ability of the board, acting as the Board of Health, to continue this until the eviction is completed? Because it just doesn't seem like she's getting a fair shake at all.
Mr. Knowlton, the evictions hearing is scheduled for August 18th, and the extension is until August 24th.
Right.
So I think on August 24th, we'd be in a much better situation to
judge it.
to address this.
And just because there's a hearing, though, it doesn't mean that the person's evicted.
My personal opinion, from what I've heard, is I don't think you're going to make any progress with these violations as long as this tenant and the other people are in the house.
They've been making regular compliance and corrections. And to address your concerns about, well, let's not do anything until the tenant's out of there, it's one of the worst legal issues that could come up for Mrs. Muirhead. Because now the tenant goes to court and says, I complained about this on such and such date, and they didn't do anything, and now we're hurt. Now we're suing the town and the landlord, and the courts will fine for the tenant, and quite often, they will fine for triple damages.
So you're saying she needs to show that she's doing some sort of good faith?
So if the landlord and owner of property makes, especially the ones that fall under critical violations, corrects them first, gets them certified that yes, they've been corrected, and now walks into court, even if everything's not complete, but walks in with a regular record of this was in compliance, we worked on this, we couldn't get this done because we didn't get access, here's the record why we didn't get access, and presents that all to the judge. The judge turns around and now says to the tenant, they've been making regular and routine corrections here. You're not paying the rent. That's not what the code says. You will pay the rent. If she does nothing, then I assure you, in all the cases we've got to court, the judge does fine for the tenant against the landlord, and sometimes up to triple damages.
You can see that I've made 90% of the repairs already. Not only that, but you can see the date of 14-day notice to quit is 6/6. You can see the date that we call the Board of Health, 6/9. It's retaliation. It happens all the time.
It does.
The judges know that. The judges take one look at it and they say, oh, you weren't paying your rent, you got evicted on 6/6, oh, you called the Board of Health on 6/9. which is exactly what he did. And then I've been complying since the 23rd of June. I've been there almost every single day. I haven't worked at my job. My son hasn't worked at his job until today was the first day he went back to work because he's been with me. I did venture in there by myself the other day thinking, you know, I might get killed because I've been threatened. My life's been threatened, but I went in anyway. I went in and he left, actually, the one that lives in the basement. But it's the one that was my original tenant that I had a lease with. He's the vicious one. He's the vicious one. So I try to leave before he gets home, do what I have to do, and that's it, and I'm out of there. But now, he's playing games today, couldn't get in. So he makes it almost impossible for me to work there.
I think,
And we will follow up with the tenant regarding not allowing access when he's been provided notice. And also that if there is something comes up that he cannot provide access, he should be notifying us so we can notify the landlord.
if we have an extension till August 24th, I don't think there's any action the board's going to take tonight. I can tell you, Mrs. Muirhead, I'm sympathetic to you, to the situation that you're in. I would just ask that the Board of Health agents, keeping that in mind, the situation that's going on, you are being played. However, I hate saying that, but the tenant's using you.
We're quite aware of that.
So just keeping that in mind, try to be a little more, I guess, communicative to Mrs. Muirhead. Keep the lines of communication open.
But there's still outstanding issues on both sides.
And I think, and it seems like you're both working towards the common goal of getting them all in compliance. I think things will speed up if things go well on the 18th. I don't think we can take any action. I wouldn't recommend taking any action at this time. Anyone else have any comments or anything? Mrs. Muirhead, would you like to say anything?
No. Thank you for your time.
Thank you
I
for
apologize you're going
working.
through this situation. Jean, do you have anything we should be aware of, or?
Not at this time, though.
All right. Just feel free to contact us, Ms. Muirhead and Jean and Jessica. If anything comes up, if there's anything we need to know, let us know.
Thank you, sir.
Yep, and good luck on the 18th.
Thank you very much.
Okay. 8:30, WRPD hearing, Cumberland Farms, 150 South Main Street. I'd entertain a motion to continue that.
So
Oh, no,
moved.
I'm
You're
to,
going to close the hearing?
Close this hearing first.
is this a,
We're closing or continuing it?
I'll
I don't think I
continue
opened.
this hearing till,
It doesn't come with a hearing notice.
right, I didn't open
It's
the
still a
hearing.
hearing, so you didn't open it?
I think it was more of a discussion. Yeah, I never, hearing's open.
well, and that's her problem, not ours.
All right, so I'll
She get paid.
entertain a motion to continue the WRPD hearing on Cumberland Farms, 150 South Main Street to August 11th at 9 PM.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. All right. 8:35, discuss the town manager search. So we're looking for a town manager. Anybody have any comments or questions?
I don't think you should leave, but
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Knowlton?
I thought the assessment center that was run today by the MMA for our police chief candidate selection was wonderful. It was a lot of really good information from some really well-informed interviewers. I would like to see that kind of situation be used again. I think that information is invaluable. I know that 4 of us were at that today.
It was, it's obviously Charlie can speak to this more than we can, but the gentleman who ran the assessment center was part of the search that we had going on when we found Charlie. I would certainly like to at least meet with the last town manager search committee, see what they have to say, see what they liked and didn't like about their search, have a discussion with them on how we can move forward. I would certainly entertain the idea of forming another town manager search committee as soon as possible and kind of working with them and moving forward in this manner. I don't know if anyone else has ever been on a town manager search committee, but I have not, so it's a learning process for me, and I'd like to ask people who have done it before, so we can not make the same mistakes that they have.
I think there's only maybe, my memory serves me, 3, maybe 4 of the people that were on the original search committee are available now.
Yeah, that's
But-
fine. I asked them just to come in and say, how you doing? What's going on? I know a couple of them have already voiced some opinions to me about what we should do as far as moving forward, so I'd certainly be interested in hearing
Want to
more
have a
about that.
discussion on that?
Yeah,
Want to have them in next meeting?
sure.
You want a motion?
Anybody else have any ideas on how we should move forward? I couldn't agree more that the assessment that we did today was extremely helpful and extremely eye-opening.
Mr. Chair, I did speak with Mr. Morse today from the MMA, and they're doing actually 3 town manager assessments for 3 different towns right now. So the process will be a little different. It's a different job, but he was confident that he would find us some good candidates if we worked with him. So
All right.
No, I
Charlie?
don't think they're doing assessments, I think he's doing recruitment for those.
recruitment.
people. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Do you have anything to add to this, Charlie?
Just, if you're comfortable with the ad that I drafted, we could get that process started right away, and then you can, refine your process for, screening and evaluating those candidates. But I think it'd be important to get the word out, the position's open, and, I also think using our website to promulgate information that most candidates are looking for when they're considering a position would be valuable as well at this time. Charter, budgets, reports, those are things that people like to do a little research on when they think about applying for a position.
So, Mr. Chair, if I may, so if they're doing the recruitment, we do this first, and then we advertise with them?
We do it together.
How does it work?
We do it together, so the ad actually specifies the resumes go to the MMA Consulting Group.
Okay.
They will do their own recruitment through their network of people. This will get advertised in the 2 main vehicles, the International City Management Association newsletter and the MMA, Mass Municipal Association website, which goes on right away, and the Beacon, which will come out in early September.
Right.
So that is the coverage that, most communities use to develop their, candidate pool, along with consultants like MMA Consulting that, know who's in the business, and know who have been looking at other times in the past and do individual recruitment. So I think what you're doing by hiring them is you're just strengthening your candidate pool. You're doing a good outreach, program on your own through these publications. You're using them to augment that. I will certainly do everything I can as well in that regard to encourage people to apply. And then at that point in time, whatever you choose to do there, turn it over to the screening committee, whatever else you want to do as part of the evaluation process is up to you. But I think, first thing, I think you want to get as strong a candidate pool as possible, and I think, what I recommended here will do that for you.
Right. Speaking to them, I like it because they already have quite a pool to start looking into and talking to. So it's one step ahead.
Mr. Chair?
Mr. McKinnon?
How is MMA going to know what we're looking for? Because not all towns run the same, not all boards run the same, and not all towns have the exact same set of
Absolutely,
circumstances.
and in the memo, I recommended you call Mr. Morrison to your next meeting. He's got a conflict on the 11th. Now, I didn't check, I didn't know you were meeting on the 12th and the 13th as well.
The whole week.
So I could but you're absolutely right. Some sort of communication between you and the consultant to say, this is what we're looking for is necessary early on in the process. So by all means, if you like, I will, see if maybe what we should think about doing is taking 15 minutes before you have, let's see, the 12th is going to be the executive session, right? So perhaps before the executive session, you could start out, meet with Mr. Morris and say, here's what we're looking for. And, give him, ideas on what he should be pursuing. And I think that's important.
So we just get a copy of Charlie's resume and white out his name. So this is what we're looking for.
Yeah, but at least they know that. They know that front,
Yeah.
That's the parameter.
Well,
We gotta
I
set
think
the parameters.
But still, I think, having just some face-to-face conversation with you, or some sort of conversation, and talking about, priorities, values, desires, needs, is
And Mr.
all
Morse
good
isn't
information.
completely unaware of what Middleborough is and how we operate. He helped us get Charlie.
Yeah. So the good thing
That
is
was-
he's
that
familiar
was
with the community.
6
It's not
years
like
ago.
he's coming in cold.
5, 6 years ago. So-
Yeah.
And everything changes, and let's face it, the ship was in a little bit of trouble,
Well, I mean, Mr.
5,
Morse
6
was here
years ago.
today,
So,
so he is familiar with this, so I.
he knows
I'm
where we are,
comfortable.
but he doesn't know how we think, because we don't know how we think, but.
Nobody knows how you think, Steve.
No, I'm kind of a strange thing myself, but there are certain things that I would want them to look for more than other things.
Yep.
Yet you all might have different ideas, good ideas. Just wanted to get that out there.
So
Yeah.
I will, see if hopefully he's available the 12th, and if not, the 12th, maybe before the, interviews on the 13th, if that's possible, and whatever, however sooner we can get him in here.
All right.
Right. But, we will go ahead, we will do the advertising, we will get the website populated with information, and get the process started.
All right. Anybody else have any other comments or questions? No? All right. Town manager's report?
I had one item in there, and I think you've noticed that Rochester is going through a site assignment hearing for CMAS for a minor or I think actually it's probably a major modification. Ms. Spalding and I have been working on comments, which I think you've seen drafts of, and they've been very receptive. They, the things we're asking for are things that they should be doing and should have been doing all these years, and for a variety of reasons, things have slipped and they're not being done the same way. And basically, we're taking this opportunity to try and hold them to the original commitments of, how the truck traffic is supposed to be routed and things of that nature. And again, they've been very receptive, and they've asked for some help in addressing those issues from us, which Ms. Spalding has provided. So I just wanted to keep you updated on that. We're just trying to keep them to the commitments they made when they opened the facility many years ago. That's the report for the night.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. McKinnon?
I happen to notice that one of the signboards out here is saying that there's going to be some construction on Route 105. Does that mean that the 105 and 495 interchange is actually nearing some form of completion?
I'd have to check.
It's night work, though.
There's been rumors to that effect for years.
I know.
Years.
This is going on.
I don't know what's holding it up now, honestly.
But they're saying it's night work, which is peculiar.
I haven't seen that. I'll check on it tomorrow. That's news to me. Is there a signboard, heading toward the intersection?
Yeah, heading
No.
towards the intersection.
Okay, I didn't go down there today. So.
Unless it was a figment of my imagination, which could be happening.
Wishful thinking.
You never know.
All right. Correspondence. Who wants to start? Anyone? Mr. McKinnon.
No,
Oh,
down the
you
end.
raised your hand, Mr.
I
McKinnon.
said, I was pointing that
It's
way.
too late now.
Pay attention. Mr. Chairman. I do actually... I don't think I have anything, sir.
Ms. Delby?
Well, it's after the fact, number 3, the mosquito control sprayed on the 24th and 25th, weather permitting. I didn't see anything, but apparently they did. Just to remind you all, though, it is mosquito season. Use your repellent. Clothing helps. Dusk and dawn are bad times. Yeah, clothing's always good. You have to do this to me tonight. Clothing is always recommended when you're out in public areas, okay?
I'll give you that one.
Got that one? Okay.
You want to make that some kind of a motion or something? No?
No, actually, I'm going to leave that
I
one.
didn't think we would have known that, actually.
Clothing to protect against mosquitoes. I have to verify everything on this board. Just be careful. The diseases are not funny. It's a serious issue, so take care of yourselves. That's it.
Mr. Knowlton?
Number 6, the Conservation Commission has sent out a notice of office hours being changed.
Yep.
I'm a little concerned with the wording that was used here. On the release, both on the sign and to the newspaper, it says due to budget cuts, the office will be closed at certain hours. I believe this board did not increase their budget, and then town meeting did not increase their budget. I don't believe there was any budget cut that happened. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong.
The fund that the Conservation Commission had been paying for our clerk out of is dwindled to pretty much nothing. So the budget that we had last year, including that fund, is no longer the current budget for this fiscal year.
That's not a budget cut.
Well, it's a cut.
I would like to have Charlie communicate with the commission and have them change that sign and have it not say due to budget cuts. I think that's disingenuous, especially after what this board and town meeting said to the commission.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, is that a motion?
That is a motion. I so move.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
I don't think that that's necessary at all. I think it's not a good use of time, but to be discussing that, the budget is not the same last year as it is this year.
I would,
It doesn't say that it was cut by town meeting, but the budget is not the same. I would say that that's a budget cut. That's not disingenuous.
I disagree with you.
If I may, what's been cut is not town funding, though. That was not town funding that was cut. Maybe that distinction should be made.
do we really have to get into this?
Well,
is my question?
if someone's has a problem with it, then just that clarification, I think, would fix it.
Why don't I just talk to him and see
That's
if we can
fine.
work it out?
That's fine.
I don't, you have to take a vote, I'll just do that.
Thank you, Charlie. I withdraw my motion.
Thank you, Mr. Knowlton.
I withdraw my second.
Thank you, Mr. McKinnon.
Not very reluctantly, I might add.
Anything else, Mr. Knowlton?
No, that would be it. Thank you.
Ms. Stewart?
No, I was just going to remind the public that it is going to be closed, though, from 8 to 12, and that site visits are available Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. By appointment, and if anybody in the community needs another time, just give our office a call, and we'll see if we can accommodate you.
Thank you for that. And I'm all set.
But can I just mention one thing? And I know it's not a comfortable topic, but, you know, the first item about the complaint about one of our auto dealers is not the first one we received about this particular dealer, and that's why we put it in correspondence. And I think the last time that we received something like this, Jackie sent a letter to the dealer, you know, just pointing out that we'd gotten this complaint. We'd like to know what the, how to rephrase it, Jackie? Do you recall?
I have it on here. We wanted him to respond to the board in writing, how he
Resolved this issue.
resolved it,
Yeah.
or how he was responding to the complaint. The
Yeah.
complaint came from an attorney representing another customer with similar accusations. There's a few things in the file.
Yeah.
What if, honestly, I have no idea how we can act on this.
You know, I think other than, you know, bringing it to his attention in one way or another, either through a letter or asking him to come in and address you in a meeting, maybe not, you know, while we're so busy, but, you know, in September, you know, however you want to do it, but, you know, this letter is very unusual. We don't get letters like this about our dealers, you know, so when we get them, you know, it's a concern, and we seem to only get them about this dealer. So it just causes us a concern to continue to see these, and just wanted to bring it to your attention.
Right.
You know, so you know, I think it's just a matter of how you wanted to bring it to his attention, that you're aware that, you know, this is not the first time that we've gotten one of these letters from an unhappy customer.
Mr. Chair, can we make sure that this letter is brought up when we come around to licensing again?
That's a great idea. How about we certainly do what Mr. Knowlton just suggested, send a letter similar to the one you sent the last time, CC the person who wrote this letter, Ms. Herring, and ask the owner, or the dealer, to come in and say late September and explain to us how it was resolved.
Sounds good.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. McKinnon.
now that this hornet's nest has dropped down a little lower and I can reach it, say whack, when we approve permits every year, are we just approving them so we can get the tax money or the fee money? Or are we approving them to say that this is the kind of business we want in our town? And can we say, you know what, pal? You've got enough history that proves that we think you should move on to another location, because we don't want this kind of business in our town and this kind of reputation in our town. Every town has a tough reputation at some point, somewhere around it. Why would we want to encourage this? Why wouldn't we want to say to this guy, hey, we're giving you a permit to do your business, the business you want to be involved with, but we don't want to be hearing letters from people saying that you're doing a bad job.
How about we give the dealer an opportunity to correct this situation? We've only heard one side of the situation. Granted, this isn't the first time, but I'm certainly not willing to jump and stop pulling licenses because we got a complaint about someone.
I didn't say we should pull his license today.
Today?
Well, no, look, all right, we're running a business.
I understand.
We're running a business.
I understand what you're saying, I just think we should...
In a business, if
follow
somebody
up.
falls out of the realm, well, we sit them down and do a little disciplinary action. We say, you know what, these are rules, you gotta play nice, you don't play nice, we'll spank your hand. And if you keep spanking your hand enough, you're out of here. So maybe we need to look at the possibility, is there something we can do to give this guy what in the business world is called a written warning, or a final written warning, to say, you know what, we don't want this anymore.
Mr. Chair, I think to follow this in this vein, I would suggest maybe when we send the letter saying we got the complaint, that the board does take these kind of complaints seriously when we permit businesses. That's all we need to say. I think that would get the point across. Maybe not as strongly as Mr. McKinnon would like, but I
Velvet
think it
hammer,
would
Mr. McKinnon. Not a sledgehammer. Velvet hammer.
I don't understand that concept, sir. That's right up there with moderation. No, some type of wording that indicates that this doesn't happen again, son, or else you're moving on.
And we'll consult counsel on that as well, just to make sure we're within the...
Let's see if there's some vehicle we can use.
Okay. We will do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody have anything else?
No.
I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.